you are going to be placed under arrest.
Me?
You're Allie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's going to be for predatory criminal sexual assault.
He kept asking and asking and asking and wouldn't leave me alone. So I decided to send him $700 on Cash App, buy him super expensive noise-canceling Sony headphones, use Snapchat to send him a bunch of illicit nude photographs and videos of myself, and then invite this 11-year-old child to my home for play dates in which Alli Bardfield would sexually assault the child. This is the dark underbelly. Decatur, Illinois, substitute teacher who was recently sentenced. We're going to go through the body cam footage of when she was first arrested, and then we'll cover her eventual sentencing, which happened a few days ago. A pretty standard case here at the dark underbelly for this type of female predator. Denied everything at the start of the case. Essentially is what seems like she's your average very vigilant Karen, calling the police on anyone and everyone but herself when confronted with the crimes that she committed, which are the most serious, or should be in our culture. She denies it and acts so appalled that investigators had the audacity to arrive to her doorstep, and the victim had the audacity to report her and the parents of the victim of these crimes. So eventually the case gets resolved and settled, and Alli Bardfield would get sentenced to prison. So let's go ahead and watch her confrontation here by police as they're there to serve her search warrant as well as arrest her.
You are going to be placed under arrest.
Me?
You're Allie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's going to be for predatory criminal sexual assault.
Today, we're looking at the case of Alli Bardfield, a 34-year-old woman whose actions shocked an entire community. It all started when investigators began looking into suspicious digital messages being exchanged between Bardfield and a young student. What they discovered raised serious concerns. Through Snapchat, she had been sending messages and even transferring money through Cash App. Alli Bardfield wasn't someone most people would have expected to be in the headlines. To those around her, she looked...
Really? I mean, based upon what? A societal narrative that women can't be predators, that they're not sexually abusing kids, that they're not seeking out boys and girls, that they're not able to be predators, or that kids never report these crimes. Why is she not someone that we would expect when almost daily now we receive these types of reports that are just the tip of the iceberg? Because as we've said, the victims in these types of cases don't report the crimes.
like just another adult living her life. But behind the
living
scenes,
her best life,
Bardfield was developing a secret connection with someone she should have never been in contact with in that way. The story begins with simple messages. And first, Bardfield connected with him through Snapchat, a platform that erases messages after they're read. Many young people use it, but it's also become a tool that some predators believe will help them hide their tracks. But Bardfield didn't just stop at messaging. As the days turned into weeks, she began sending inappropriate texts and images, and even went as far as sending him money through Cash App. Hundreds of dollars over time, officers approached Bardfield.
She had paid all of this money, and again, this is the grooming type of behavior that we see from predators like this.
The entire moment. In the video, you can see Bardfield looking stunned as officers explain why she's being placed under arrest. At first, she appears calm.
Officers have to detail. They're there to serve a search warrant. They're very, very respectful. I've seen search warrants not get conducted in this manner. Doors bashed in, guns are drawn, everybody's got handcuffs on, people's heads are smashed into the pavement. This is a relatively nice for the serious felony crime that's being alleged and the victim being a child.
Almost as if she's trying to process what's happening. But as the reality of the charges sets in, her demeanor changes.
And I'm assisting the Mount Zion Police Department. How many kids are home?
Three.
Three
Why?
kids. Okay, just you guys and the kids? Okay.
And
Because-
someone else.
Well,
it's my brother. My brother was your brother.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the thing. We have a search warrant for the house, okay? You know, you are going to be placed under arrest.
Me?
You're Allie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's going to be for predatory criminal sexual assault to grooming. Okay, so that's why we're here, to take a look, to make sure we gather what we need out of the house, okay?
For what?
Yeah, so I'll talk to you more about it here in a second, okay? I'm going to explain some things,
Yeah.
okay? First off, I have to read your rights, okay, so that I can talk to you, okay? You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do will be used against you in court. You have the right to an attorney, and if you can't afford one will be appointed to represent you free of any cost to you. Do you understand
Yeah.
that? Okay. Have you ever been in trouble before?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to explain, but long story short is, okay, we've got a significant amount of evidence to include the conversation that you had with.
According to court documents, when detectives first showed up at Alli Bardfield's front door, she immediately tried to deny everything. She told officers she had never been involved.
So, as we have seen, denied everything, even though hours before it's revealed that she was on the phone and texting and messaging this child, this 11-year-old kid, to delete everything. She's on birth control, doesn't have to worry. This kid, 11-year-old, doesn't have to worry about, as we saw with Alexis Bowman, who had threatened a pregnancy with a 15-year-old child. This 11-year-old, don't worry, 11-year-old, I'm on birth control, even though we had sex. You won't have to be a father at 11. And denied everything to investigators when they showed up. Acted completely shocked why they were at her doorstep, why they were there. We've seen this behavior before. This is not your honest, typical pred investigation or confrontation, as they say. This ain't your typical live catch that you might be familiar with the Chris Hansen, Alex Rosen, Tommy Fellows honesty that comes with being a lot of these male confrontations of these online predator catcher stings, in which, I mean, these people are sharing every detail in the book, going everything about all of the crimes that they're committing. Not in this case, where there's a real victim and there is a complete denial and lies from the start. So not your typical honest pred catch.
Involved with the boy. But detectives weren't buying it. In the body cam footage, although parts of the audio are redacted, you can clearly hear an investigator telling Bardfield that he had a considerable amount of evidence. That line alone says a lot.
Yeah, that line does say a lot. That typically means that sometimes I've read enough of these reports of these types of criminal allegations that it just takes an accusation with some people in the criminal system in which a complainant or a victim makes a statement to police, and that is sufficient for probable cause to serve as an arrest in some cases. On the female predator side of things, I've seen them investigate them and overturn everything because of the difficulty with prosecuting these cases, the complexity that's involved in ensuring a conviction, and how hard it is a lot of times to bring in general predators to justice. But particularly female predators, in which they will use every trick in the book to try to deny and deflect from their crimes, including, which is something that they have potentially available to them, claiming it was the victim, the boy, who was assaulting them when it wasn't in reverse.
He wasn't just talking about texts or Cash App payments. He was also been referring to a phone call Barfield had with the boy just hours before her arrest. Investigators later revealed that they, along with the boy's parents, had been secretly monitoring those communications in real time. That included text messages, voice calls, and even FaceTime conversations. What Bardfield said during those calls made the case even stronger. She reportedly discussed things like birth control, mentioning that she couldn't get pregnant. She also told the boy to delete their messages. On March 29, 2024, Bardfield had invited the boy over to her home, calling it a play date. After that visit, the boy's mother noticed that something was off. His behavior had changed, and he seemed unusually withdrawn. Trusting her instincts, the mother decided.
So, wait a minute. I thought that society, the female pred complex, the simps and the cucks and all the people out there told us that this was good for children. That being sexually abused by an adult woman is positive. You're telling the parents are saying that he's withdrawn? Possibly other victims like him, maybe starting to smoke weed, doing drugs, dropping out of school, not going to class. Grades have plummeted, like we saw with Anthony Cumia, who regularly admitted the first time that he was sexually abused as a child by an adult woman, his grades completely crashed. His desire for learning crashed. His passion for life that kids should have as they grow up went out the window as he was sexually abused, and now he became a different person. Parents see that. It's not positive, as society would have you believe, or that the people in our culture, the perverts in our culture, would try to convince you as. No, this kid had negative consequences from what happened to him in his life, and his parents noticed that something was wrong. There was no celebration. There was no high fives.
To check her son's phone and social media. That's when she uncovered the disturbing truth. With the evidence now in front of her, the boy finally opened up about what had really been happening. That discovery is what ultimately set the full investigation in motion. And from there, Bardfield's secret came crashing down.
Are you
Talk to her
taking
real
my
quick. She'll
kids?
be able to talk to. No, I'll talk to you here about that. So that lady is.
Oh my God.
No, but listen. She doesn't mean she's taking your kids. Okay.
Make a knife, show us.
After her initial denial at the front door, Bardfield agreed to sit down with a detective to talk further. The body cam captured the exchange, though much of the audio is redacted. According to court documents, Bardfield once again insisted she had never had a relationship with the boy. But the detective wasn't convinced. At one point, he confronted her directly, telling Bardfield that he had already seen the inappropriate photos she had sent to the child. Then he asked her a blunt question. Why would a 34-year-old woman send those kinds of images to an 11-year-old? Bardfield's response, as recorded in the report, was chilling. She stated that he kept asking and asking and asking. He wouldn't leave me alone. The documents also note that the victim himself had sent Bardfield explicit pictures as well. That disturbing detail added yet another layer of complexity to the case, showing just how far this communication had gone before investigators stepped in. Once in custody, the investigation didn't slow down. Officers had enough digital evidence to confront her, and eventually, Bardfield admitted to what she had done. She confessed to having an inappropriate relationship with the boy, a relationship that crossed lines in ways that shocked even seasoned investigators. Her confession left little room for doubt, and prosecutors prepared for a trial. But Bardfield made a different decision. When Bardfield stepped into the courtroom, she faced the full weight of the law. She was charged with multiple serious offenses related to misconduct with a minor. But instead of taking the case to trial, Bardfield entered a guilty plea. By doing so, she avoided forcing the victim to testify, and at the same time, she accepted responsibility for her actions.
Committed the offense of predatory criminal sexual assault of a child. It's a Class X felony, punishable by 6 to 60 years in the Department of Corrections. That would be served at 85%, followed by a mandatory supervised release of 3 years up to natural life and up to a $25,000 fine. It is not a probation eligible offense. And if convicted, you would have to register as a sex offender for the rest of your natural life. Do you understand the charges? I've read it to you. Do you want me to read the whole paragraph out loud to you, or are you able to do that? Okay.
In many ways, this was a turning point in the case. A trial would have meant rehashing every detail in front of a jury, with evidence displayed and witnesses called. But a guilty plea meant the outcome was more straightforward: sentencing. Many believe she will be given a lengthy prison sentence, ensuring that she would be removed from society for years.
I mean,
Beyond
honestly,
that, she will be
I
required to
don't-
register under state law.
and now we'll head to her sentencing, which just happened a few days ago.
County, where former Decatur substitute teacher Alli Bardfield was sentenced to 10 years in prison for sexually assaulting a sixth grader. WCI3's Peter Hansen was in the courtroom today and has more.
The court imposes a sentence of 10 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections.
In that moment, the victim's family left the courtroom visibly frustrated about the fate a Macon County judge decided for 34-year-old Alli Bardfield.
This defendant took it upon herself to prey on an 11-year-old child.
Bardfield was a substitute teacher at Hope Academy in Decatur.
Stormed out. So this idea that, probation sentences is what the parents and the victims wanted. They didn't want a strong sentence. Well, in this case, they wanted a very strong sentence.
Guilty to sexually assaulting one of her students in March of last year. The Macon County State's attorney asked for a harsher sentence, 40 years. She says Bardfield used her own daughter.
Prosecutors wanted 40 years.
Play dates at her house.
Used her own daughter to bring the child over.
Manipulated into trusting this defendant because she was a mother and a teacher.
The family was manipulated by society, by the culture, into trusting this defendant because she was a mother and a teacher. I think that these types of cases finally shed light on the fact that no one's gender or race or their looks, nothing about them should inherently make you trust them. We have seen everyone from every walk of life commit these crimes. And typically, this has been viewed as a male problem, and it's not. And we have seen that time and time again, where there is just as nasty and sick and perverted female predators that there are as male predators. It's just that we rarely see them. My channel's comments is filled with people that claim to have been victimized as children, and now they're adults, but they viewed it as a positive experience. They never reported it. So there's potentially a predator out there that never got caught. Say the unknown unknown. And this particular crime, where there's a male victim and a female offender, as we've said before, almost never gets reported.
And a teacher.
The sentencing marks the first time we've heard statements from the mother and father of the victim, with the mother asking for a maximum sentencing of 60 years and the father talking about how this will impact his son moving forward.
I hate that I had to sacrifice my child.
The victim's mother also shared how her son has been teased at school about what happened. The father's statement was read by a family representative.
His personality has always been so unique and outgoing, but since you took advantage of him, he has not been the same.
The child hasn't been the same. He has now a different personality. It's affected him negatively. The parents who are the closest to this victim, not the freaks and the perverts out there, not the simps and the cucks out there that want to glorify this and are sort of getting off on this type of sexual abuse. No, those closest to this child are saying that it had a devastating impact on his life, asking for 60 years, prosecutors asking for 40 years. Alli Bardfield in Decatur, Illinois, sentenced to just 10 years and will be out in 8.5.